He won a great ball in the air, and he was still regarded as slight, but he was a tremendous man to win a ball in the air. And he fielded a great ball around the middle of the field, or maybe 50 yards out. Skipped by his man, went on a solo run, and then hit a huge hand pass out to the left wing to PJ Delaney. Now he continued running towards the goal. PJ got the ball and sent a screamer across the goal on the ground, and DJ met it on the volley with his left hand off the ground. Now, I would regard that as a huge skill. First of all, it's not too difficult to hit a ball to continue in the same direction, but he was hitting it coming across the goal at 90 degrees with his left hand, which for normal players it would be a weak side, but I don't think DJ has any weakness. But he hit it, I'd say, on about the 14, a screamer of a shot, which in itself was tremendous skill. But the ball hit the crossbar at probably 120 miles an hour, and he just flicked it on into the corner of the net.
He was in his handball days, so he passed the ball around 50 yards to PJ Delaney, who crossed it in, and DJ was running across the 21-yard line, and on his so-called weaker hand, he pulled on the ball as it was coming across, travelling across very fastly. Rifled off the crossbar. I thought it was in the net because the net was shaking so much after hitting the crossbar, but the ball came flying out. We were all sticking looking, and DJ was just there reflexing it back in. It was just, I suppose it was just unbelievable, the skill and the reflexes to do it, the ability to do it, and I don't think anyone else could have done it.
Who else would be following up the ball, hits the crossbar, and then is coming back at maybe 60 miles an hour? Still Carey is able to turn in a flash of an eye and hit it. He is God.
Clare were at the height of their power at the time, and DJ was at the height of his power. And we did everything possible off the field, on the field, including myself, to put him off his game. But he still, in that game, got one of the greatest goals I've ever seen. He took on Anthony Daly, tried to take him on, Brian Lohan, and he was at an angle, and he just stuck the ball in right underneath the crossbar at the far side of the goals. An unblockable shot. He was out of the game completely, but he still did something in the game that showed that he was a total genius. That's DJ for you.
Kilkenny were beaten that day, and DJ that year probably had his greatest year one of his greatest years for Kilkenny. He actually brought them to an All-Ireland semi-final, nearly single-handedly. And I think, that just, it proved everything for me that he was just special.
Obviously this year's All-Ireland springs to mind, and for the reason that it's the most recent in memory possibly, but the goal he got was class, absolute class. Like to be able to place a ball coming in at that speed from that height, and to be able to stroke it calmly and casually to the corner of the net under that pressure in the first few minutes of an All-Ireland final. It really shows that and highlights that the guy has nerves of steel, and the second moment was obviously the point. He clipped over in the second half without having to catch the ball. He just struck it off the bat after, I think it was Ollie Baker, he sort of led on a merry-go-round for a couple of seconds prior to that. I think that sticks out in my mind as possibly the greatest score I've ever seen in Croke Park.
I have one unfavoured moment. He took 147 steps in the Leinster final of '91 to beat Wexford. That's an unfavoured step.
I think it was about 5. Well, maybe we gave him a bad habit there, because the lads used to always complain to us about the steps DJ took with the field here, but we used to always say they were small ones, But lads have said that was one of his best goals, and I've heard it said that was the best football goal of the year, because if you watch it very carefully, he not only kicks it properly, but it hits the left stanchion of the corner of the net. So it was probably a contender for both football and hurling goal of the year.